Autumn is finally here, which means that we can celebrate the harvest with some warm drinks and hearty food. So grab a cup of tea and join me in the kitchen as I prep some nourishing meals for the week. It's going to be a very busy weekend ahead because I have 6 recipes to share with you all. In the name of colder weather, 2 of them are high-protein, hearty soups. Voila! And then on the fermentation front, I have a fresh sourdough sandwich loaf to share. And I've also been trying my hand at pickling. So all of these recipes, minus maybe the pickles, freeze really well. So if you are looking to meal prep, I recommend that you make a double or a triple batch as a way to show your future lazy self a little bit of love. Let's get into it. It's time to roast the chicken. This method has quickly become my favorite way to roast a chicken because it's so freaking easy. The air fryer takes care of everything. All we do is prep the bird with a few spices, some lemon and herbs, cook it breast side down for 45 minutes at 180 degrees, and then flip it, cook it for another 20 minutes until the internal temperature reaches, I think, this on the screen. I want to say 70 degrees Celsius internal temp, and that's it. And then once it's cooled completely, I pull off all the meat, separate that out from the carcass, and we're going to use the meat in tomorrow's Tuscan chicken soup. And the carcass I will put in a bag and freeze at a later date for when I want to make some chicken stock. So easy. Things are being timed perfectly. The bread is being kneaded by my wonderful stand mixer. We got the chicken stock boiling for tomorrow's soup and the chicken that was cooked in the air fryer. And this needs to go for about 10 more minutes while I separate the chicken meat from the carcass. Also for the chicken soup tomorrow. It's all going to plan. Yes! It was a perfect fit. That is so satisfying. Normally with a batch like this, I would freeze a few cubes to use later, just to have chicken stock on hand. But because I'm gonna make the Tuscan soup today, that is what this jar is earmarked for. And then tomorrow we're making a beef, I wanna call it beef gnocchi soup, but I'm still working on the title. It's gonna be like a beef pasta soup. And I know it's chicken stock, but it's fresh and it's homemade. So it's gonna taste delicious. So that's for tomorrow's soup. This is for today's soup. It's so satisfying that it fit perfectly in these 2 jars. It's the little things in life, you know? Okay. All right, today we're making a super cozy, super easy Tuscan chicken soup in the crock pot. It's one of those meals that's hearty, but still pretty healthy. And honestly, it kind of makes itself. The base of our soup is homemade chicken stock and shredded rotisserie chicken. Both of these can be prepped in advance with the help of nifty kitchen gadgets, so we maximize flavor with minimal effort. Now for the veggies. We've got 3 carrots, peeled and diced, 3 ribs of celery, chopped, 1 yellow onion, diced, and 3 cloves of garlic, minced, plus some fresh herbs. Here I used rosemary and thyme from our garden. I made sure to wash them thoroughly and then gave them a rough chop. All of that then goes straight into the crock pot. Add a can of white beans, just rinse them first, and 2 bay leaves for some background flavor. So the base of our Tuscan soup is ready. All the veggies are here in the crock pot, ready to go. The chicken we made yesterday, that's gonna sit out because it's already cooked, and I'll add it last minute just to heat up. The one thing I do wanna cook separately though, first, is the sausage. Because if I cook this now in the crock pot as is, it's going to turn a really unappetizing gray color. And I don't want that. So while the crock pot is wonderful, when you're cooking meat in the crock pot, I do recommend browning it first in a pan in a little bit of butter to give it some color and also to seal in the juices. Then you can finish cooking it in the crock pot at a slow temp for as long as you want. But this will just make it a little bit more appetizing in color, and as I said, prevent it from drying out too much by sealing in the juices. The other flavor bomb I'm gonna add is an old Parmesan rind. I'm gonna cut it up into really tiny pieces so that as the crock pot cooks on a slow temp for a long time, those little chunks will just start to disintegrate. And they'll be like a little gift of a bite when you get them on your spoon. So don't ever throw out your old cheese rinds. Use them for things like this, for slow cook soups. Once the soup is nearly done, with about a half hour left to go, add in your leafy greens. I used about 4 cups of kale, destemmed and sliced, because that's what I had on hand. If you're not into kale though, spinach works too. Feel free to adapt here based on your palate. Season it all with some kosher salt and black pepper, just enough to bring everything together. Then pour in about 1 liter of chicken broth, or water if that's what you have. Give it all a good stir. Now this is my favorite part of owning a crock pot. You just set it and forget it. Cook it on low for about 7 to 8 hours, or high for 3 to 4 hours if you're short on time. That's it. You can walk away, go do whatever you need to do, and then come back to a house that smells amazing. Serve it with bread or on its own. Either way, it hits the spot every time. Tuscan chicken soup. Low effort, big flavor. The Tuscan chicken soup prep starts 1 day before everything is cooked in the crock pot. The stock takes hours to cook, and the chicken can be roasted in advance in the air fryer. Another recipe that also benefits from some planning ahead is sourdough bread. So while the chicken is roasting and the stock is bubbling, we mix the dough for our future loaf. About 4 to 12 hours before you start, feed your sourdough starter with equal parts water and flour. You want it active, happy, and full of bubbles. In the bowl of your stand mixer, add 56 grams of softened butter or coconut oil, 21 grams of honey, 8 grams of salt, 113 grams of that active bubbly starter, and then 295 grams of water. Finally, add your flours, 150 grams of whole wheat, and 420 grams of all-purpose. Add a little more or less if your starter's on the wetter side. Let the mixer work its magic on about medium to medium-low speed until the dough is smooth, stretchy, and pulls away from the bowl. About 10 minutes. It should pass the window pane test. Now place that dough in a greased bowl, cover it up, and let it rise for 10 to 12 hours in a warm spot. Overnight works great. Good morning, everybody. It is indeed the next day, about 7:30 on a Sunday, and I have awoken to my beautiful sourdough loaf that has doubled in size. Voila! So the first tasks of the day are going to be to form this into the loaf pan that I have here. It will then need to proof, to chill on its own, for between 2 to 4 hours. And I made this same loaf last week, and I let it proof for a little bit longer than 4 hours, and it kind of exploded on top of the form. It was a little bit too long. Because it's kind of warm in here, I think I'm just gonna let it proof for 2 hours. And then we'll bake it. And the house will smell like baked bread on a Sunday morning. Winning. Okay, let's get to this. Once it's puffed and happy, it's time to shape. Spread the dough into a rectangle, then roll it up into a loaf shape. Pop it into a greased loaf pan, cover with a tea towel, and let it rise again for 2 to 4 hours, or until doubled in size. For that signature golden top, mix 1 egg with a little splash of water and then brush on top of the loaf. Then bake it at 190 degrees Celsius or 375 Fahrenheit for about 45 minutes until it's perfectly golden brown. Let it cool completely before slicing. This is the part I struggle with the most, because the whole house smells amazing and the bread looks delicious. But trust me, you've worked too hard to settle for a gooey loaf. Please wait until it's fully cooled. And there you have it. A soft, hearty sourdough sandwich loaf that's perfect for toast, sandwiches, or just warm with butter. If you enjoyed this recipe, hit the like button, subscribe, and share your loaf in the comments below. Happy baking, friends! Noticed a few repeat players throughout this meal prep, specifically the crock pot and the butterbell. And hopefully this video has given you a few new recipes you can try out using your slow cooker. Though if you haven't yet picked one up, I'd like to try to steer you in the right direction before you buy. For context, I have two currently. A smaller one sitting at about 3.5 liters, and then the Big Mama at 7.5 liters. And for years, the small one was perfect for our little family of two. It worked like a charm and fed us very well. So if you live alone or if you're just feeding a few people, then this smaller version is a great place to start. Last November though, I picked up the bigger one, the 7.5 liter, to be able to host 10 people here for Thanksgiving dinner. And this Big Mama is perfect for a big batch meal prep or for feeding a large group of people. And now that I have two, I find myself routinely using both at the same time. One may be working on a big batch of bone broth, while the other is slow cooking meat. The Crock Pot is so great, it's easy to use, it's affordable, and I highly recommend it. And the second honorable mention is the Butterbell. It's a technology that's been around for decades to keep your butter fresh and at room temperature. It's also crazy simple to use. All you have to do is load your butter of choice in the bell compartment, and then add a few tablespoons of filtered water to the bottom. The water at the bottom acts as a seal to keep the butter fresh and mold-free. Just make sure that you change it every 2 to 3 days. The water, not the butter. Et voila! You have room temperature butter for whenever the urge strikes. You can find all of my kitchen essentials in my Amazon shop linked down below. These are the brands that I have used and loved for years, and if you choose to shop them, I really appreciate it because I may earn a small commission. I really hope that they inspire your cooking journey. Okay, let's take it back to today's recipes. It's time for the fermentation part of this meal prep. Let me gather a few supplies first. I've gathered everything I need to start. This is the very first time that I'm doing this, so it's going to be a learning process for both of us. Based on my research, you'll need a few things. A kitchen scale, a big clean glass jar, fine sea salt, water, your vegetable of choice, right now I'm using cucumbers, and then a fermentation weight, which is the thing that I was missing. So I found some spare coins around the house, and I thought that I would wrap them, I've washed them, sterilized them, I would wrap them in saran wrap, and then put them in this little bowl to weight down the vegetables to create an anaerobic environment that the bacteria can ferment and create kind of a seal. That's the idea. Let's see if it works. First, we need to assemble into the jar. I'm really hoping it works. So all I've done is add the vegetables and the water to this jar, and it comes out to 1,360 grams. What I need to do now is I'm gonna add about 3% salt ratio because I'm planning to pickle these for about 2 to 3 weeks. So it's gonna be a shorter fermentation. So I need to find 3% of 1,360 grams. Thank goodness for technology. My brain is not gonna do that. So it's telling me it's 40 grams of salt. So let's add exactly 40 grams. Oh. Mix it up. Okay, now here's where my janky MacGyver weight comes in. Let's try it out. I think it's gonna work. The last step is just to label it with the date so that I know when I made it. And also, from my research, I need to burp it every few days just so that it doesn't explode, releasing some of the carbon dioxide that's been emitted by the sugars breaking down in the vegetables. But I think that the weight works. I think the purpose of the weight is just to keep it submerged so that none of the floaters come to the top. That would be so cool if it worked. Okay, let's label it. Oh my gosh. from the future here. I have just arrived home after a semi-late night out. And I just remembered that about a week ago, I made pickles. Let's do a taste test. Cool. I felt a little bit weird about having the coins just sitting in the water, so I chucked those out of the brine like 2 days after making the initial batch. Oh, okay. Initial thoughts. Looks like a pickle. Looks like a pickle. Oh my god. Okay. It's really salty. It's definitely fermented. There's a chance I got the salt ratio off. It's good. It's good. It's just very salty. I think I need to tweak my recipe a little bit. But I made pickles, y'all. Look at that. Oh, you can't really see. September 13th. Success. The last recipe I'm going to share with you all today is a protein-packed beef soup. It's a recipe I've borrowed from an American creator, Tessa Smith, linked down below, though I've added a few things because I have a few kind of scraggly vegetables that I want to use up. I found this recipe in particular to be great for freezing, so we're going to make a big batch today. And I'm going to follow the same tip that I used yesterday for the chicken soup, where we brown the meat beforehand on the stove so that when we add it to the crock pot, it's nice and like caramelized in color and that all the juices are sealed in. All right, let's get to prepping this thing. Start by heating your oil of choice in a large Dutch oven. It could be olive oil, ghee, tallow, butter, whatever you love to cook with. Once it's nice and shimmering, add in half of the ground beef. Break it into chunks, leaving a little space in between each piece so that you get that perfect brown crust. Let it cook undisturbed on medium-high for about 5 to 7 minutes. We want a deep, rich brown on the bottom. That's where all the flavor starts. Season with salt, chili powder, and pepper while it cooks. Then stir, break it up, and let it go for another minute or two. Transfer that to a bowl and repeat with the other portion of beef. Once it's done, set it aside. Now lower the heat to medium, but don't waste that beef fat. That's liquid gold. This part is optional as you're cooking it in the crock pot, but it can add an extra depth of flavor. To that Dutch oven, add in 2 sliced garlic cloves, 1 diced onion, and a diced bell pepper. Stir and let that cook until it softens and the onions start to turn translucent. And then to your slow cooker, add all that flavorful goodness. The cooked beef mince, the onion and garlic mixture, and a bunch of chopped collard greens. Then pour in about 6 cups of bone broth and a 25-ounce jar of marinara. Pro tip, add a splash of water to your marinara jar, shake it up, and pour that in too. No sauce left behind. Stir it all together, taste for seasoning, and don't be shy with the salt. The broth and sauce can handle it. Let it cook on high for 3 to 4 hours, or low for 6 to 8 hours. And about an hour before it's finished, add in half a cup of ricotta cheese and 500 grams of gnocchi. Stir to combine. When you're ready to serve, top each bowl with an extra dollop of ricotta. And there you have it. Rich, cozy, one-pot comfort. Perfect for a chilly evening, a quick weeknight dinner, or whenever you need something warm and nourishing. And don't forget to set some aside for the freezer. This dish reheats wonderfully. Thank you all so much for joining me this weekend in my kitchen. I really hope that you enjoyed these recipes and feel inspired to try at least one of them out. If you enjoyed this video, then make sure you click here for more high-protein meal prep. I'm wishing you a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll catch you back here in my next video super soon.